Steve told me. Those babies aren't Steve's.
Now Steve spoke up.
You're a real bitch. How dare you have an affair? I can't stand you anymore. I want a divorce. I won't pay child support.
With these words, he thrust the divorce papers in my face. I was beyond angry and disgusted. I had no idea that he was thinking of such a foolish plan. Fine, let's get a divorce. I took the divorce papers and filled out my section. Here you go. My name is Kate. I'm a 32 years old housewife. I met my husband Steve on a blind date. He was close in age and I liked his appearance. I was immediately attracted to him, and he seems to be interested in me too. We started dating. After a year of dating, we got married. We had a great time as newlyweds and were very happy. But that happy time didn't last long. There was one person who interfered with our newlyweds' life. It was my husband's mother. She often came to our house during the daytime, and she would bully me.
Kate, carry my bag.
My mother-in-law came to my house without an appointment and made me carry her luggage to the living room. She said,
It's my precious bag, so be careful with it.
Okay, Mary. And when I put her bag carefully on the sofa in the living room, she would say,
You should at least serve me some tea,
and call me an inconsiderate wife. Why can she be so arrogant when she comes to my place without considering my convenience? My husband is kind, but my mother-in-law is very mean. I was disappointed that she and my husband were so different. My mother-in-law comes to our house every day during the day. I was so distressed that I decided to talk to my husband about it. Hey, your mother has been coming to our house every day recently. Can you tell her to come a little less often? When I said this, my husband looked surprised.
What? Mom comes here during the day?
I was surprised that my husband was surprised. I thought he would take my side, but my husband's statement was different. He said,
Well, why doesn't she stay until I'm home? Why don't you keep her around until I get back? I'm sure she tried to be gone before I got home. You should have asked her to stay until I'm home. You're inconsiderate.
I was surprised. I never thought my husband would say such a thing. Moreover, inconsiderate is the same word that my mother-in-law used. My husband seemed to be a mama's boy. No, it's because your mother comes over here too often.
It's okay. I will call my mom. You should treat her right during the day.
My husband said this and ignored my opinion. My mother-in-law became more abusive after that. She bullied me as if she was allowed to say anything she wanted to me. She says,
You're really slow, aren't you? You're so slow at housework and inefficient at cooking. What kind of education your parents gave you?
My mother-in-law came over every day during the day. Then she would have dinner with my husband at night and go home. It was hard. But I still loved my husband. I didn't think about divorce. Then my mother-in-law started telling me,
Are the grandchildren here yet?
We had only been married about a year and a half, but my mother-in-law wanted grandchildren as soon as possible. Anyway, she put much pressure on me. I was also quite stressed. I felt depressed every day, so I asked my husband for advice. Hey, your mother keeps asking me if she has her grandkids yet. It's pretty hard for me. But as I expected, my husband's response was cold.
At my mother's age, she must want to see her grandchildren. You must do your best to live up to her expectations.
I knew that, but why did he have to say it like that? Wait a minute. The pregnancy is between you and me, isn't it? I can't get pregnant on my own. In the first place, my husband has not been cooperative at all recently. When I ask him out, he says he's too tired. He refuses to have sex with me because his mother was here and he talked with her until late at night. I don't know why my husband is blaming me for this. My husband doesn't care about me and says whatever he wants.
Even though you're a lazy housewife, you complain too much about everything. You should be more grateful.
It was my husband who asked me to be a housewife. He told me he wanted me to stay home after we married. So how could he say that? I'd started to lose trust in my husband. The longer we stayed married, the more the bad side of him became appealed. I noticed the kindness he had shown me when we were dating was all gone. He started to harass me morally. Now he and my mother-in-law curse at me every time we eat.
You're not only inconsiderate, but useless that can't have children.
You are really useless. Steve, you should get rid of her and move on.
Well, I should get another young woman who can have a baby.
I couldn't believe he would make such a statement when I was right in front of him. Little by little, I began to think about divorce. But then, I suddenly got sick. I went to the hospital, and to my surprise, I discovered I was pregnant. I immediately informed my mother-in-law and my husband about it. My mother-in-law said,
Well, you are finally pregnant. Good for you.
She was surprisingly nice. But my husband's reaction was a little cold. I see. You're having a baby. Aren't you happy?
Yes, I'm happy.
My husband was obviously not very excited. He had been blaming me for not being able to have a child, but what on earth was going on? I was utterly taken aback. But divorce is not a good idea during pregnancy. Even a husband like this, he is an essential provider, as I am a full-time housewife now. So let's not get divorced until I give birth. Fortunately, my mother-in-law did not bully me during my pregnancy. I guess she is trying to avoid mental stress and miscarriage. This means that up until now, she has been intentionally saying nasty things to me. But I'm grateful that she doesn't give me any trouble when I'm not feeling well with pregnancy. But it was my husband's words and actions that bothered me. After I got pregnant, he didn't bully me or complain as much. He started coming home exceptionally late from work, and he has been working on weekends more. And he's always looking at his phone, sometimes grinning and typing messages. Could this be infidelity? I began to think that my husband's behavior was suspicious, so I decided to hire an investigator. And a few weeks later, the result came back. Sure enough, my husband was having an affair. The other party was a subordinate at work. When my husband works overtime and does not want dinner, he always meets with his lover. And when he works on weekends, he meets with her. He was traveling with her when he said he was on a business trip. I could not help but be amazed at all the evidence. I have no more love for my husband. After I deliver my child, I would divorce him. I had made up my mind. But then I found out that I was carrying twins. I was surprised and happy. I was so excited that I reported to my husband. Hey, I went to the hospital today and discovered we are having twins. Isn't that amazing? We couldn't have children, but now I'm becoming a mother of two. But my husband's reaction was as cold as ever. Well, that's nice. What do you mean by nice? I can't believe he responded so lightly. I no longer have any affection for my husband, but I wanted him to at least be interested in our children. I guess that is too much to ask of him. I decided to stop talking to my husband. My mother-in-law was very surprised and pleased to learn that we are having twins. She says,
Kate, you did it! It is twins, and they are both boys.
My mother-in-law has bullied me, but now I think she is better than my husband. After that, my husband and I spent most of our days not talking to each other. Every meal was silent. I didn't even want my husband to come home. I was spending my days like that. Then finally, the time has come to have babies. I decided to go back to my parents' house and give birth. I told my husband that I was going home for a while.
Oh, okay.
That's all he said. Since our relationship was icy, we did not say anything casual. And I returned to my parents' house and had a peaceful time. Even though I had decided not to talk to my husband anymore, I was getting annoyed every time I saw my husband's face. So it was less stressful for me to stay at my parents' house. My parents were thrilled that I was going to have babies soon. They say,
You are going to have a warm family.
We are going to have 2 kids all at once. Isn't this exciting?
They are boys, so it's going to be lively every day.
I was reluctant to tell my parents I was getting divorced because they were so happy. But I told them, I'm sorry, but Steve and I are getting divorced after the babies are born. My parents were very surprised, but when I explained the situation, their faces turned red.
I can't forgive that man for having an affair.
My father looked about to go out and punched my husband in the face. I stopped my father and told him I wanted to wait until the birth. My parents agreed, and I gave birth to my children without incident. 2 twins were born. My parents were thrilled, holding the newborn babies in their arms. On the other hand, my husband ignored my calls during the birth. He didn't even show up at the hospital. Then I was discharged from the hospital. I headed to the house where I lived with my husband to pick up my belongings. It was Saturday, so my husband would be home if he had not met his lover. When I arrived home, there they were, my husband and my mother-in-law. They both stared at me with scary looks on their faces.
You're such a slut!
I was surprised by my mother-in-law's statement. What are you talking about?
Steve told me. Those babies were not his.
What?
You're a horrible woman. You tricked Steve to raise strangers' babies.
What are you saying? Then my husband spoke up.
You're a lousy woman to have an affair. I can't stand you anymore. I want a divorce. Of course, I won't pay child support.
My husband then confronted me with the divorce papers. I was beyond angry and disgusted. I had no idea that he had thought of such a ridiculous plan. Fine, let's get a divorce. I took the divorce papers and filled out my section. Here you go. When I handed it to him, he was a little surprised. He was surprised probably because I was not upset at all.
You're admitting adultery. You lousy bitch.
My mother-in-law crossed her arms and glared at me.
I'm going to get my alimony. You need to pay me.
My husband looked puzzled as the conversation proceeded more easily than expected. I said, "Oh, I'm the one who is getting the alimony."
What?
What? What are you talking about, bitch? You had an affair. You are paying the alimony, you idiot.
You don't know anything, so please shut up. I restrained my noisy mother-in-law and spread the evidence of my husband's infidelity on the table. Seeing this, my husband's face turned blue. My mother-in-law also said, "What do you mean?" She opened her mouth and looked at me blankly. "It seems that you had been having an affair with a younger girl for a very long time before I got pregnant. I mean, you were the one having an affair. I have heard evidence. Do you have any proof that I had an affair?" When I said this, my husband became silent. "You don't, do you? So they are your children."
Are you having an affair? Say something.
My mother-in-law raised her voice, which was unusual for her doting son.
You saw how sad I was about your father's affair, didn't you? And now you are saying you did the same thing?
I'm sorry.
My husband apologized to my mother-in-law when she confronted him. It was as if he had already admitted his adultery. I had no idea that the reason his mother had divorced was also her partner's infidelity. That makes my husband a true scumbag.
I'm so sorry, Kate. My stupid son did terrible things. I will make sure he pays alimony and child support.
Hey, Mom. Don't make that kind of decision on your own.
Don't you dare think that you're just going to have some fun. If you have an affair, you'd better know that you would lose everything. You destroy your family. Also the relationship with me.
My husband was shocked when my mother-in-law said that. I'm grateful that my mother-in-law took my side, but that does not mean I forgive her. You are right. This is unforgivable. But the stress caused by your past bullying will never go away.
What?
I also keep all the records of your abuse. I will submit it and file a claim for mental distress. While it's just a matter of marriage, I'm going to file a claim for alimony against my husband for moral harassment. I will add it on top of that. When I said this, my husband's eyes widened. He said,
Hey, that's not gonna happen. How much do I have to pay?
I said, well, child support is about 100,000. Alimony is about 40,000.
Oh no, if you add it all up, that's 140,000.
Well, good luck with that. Let's talk about the rest through our lawyers. Then I packed up my belongings and left. Then through my lawyer, my husband and I successfully got a divorce. My husband and his adulterous partner paid me alimony in a lump sum. And of course, I also requested child support from my husband. Currently, he pays me about $600 per month. My ex-husband got so deep in debt that his lover dumped him right away. And he was also disowned by his mother and is having a lonely life, just trying to pay his debts. On the other hand, I returned to my parents' house. My parents support me in raising my children. I have found a new job and work hard every day. My twin sons are very cute and are my comfort. Just looking at their smiles gives me energy. I will continue to work hard for them. Not only he harassed his wife, but also had an affair. What a scumbag he is. It seems that the mother-in-law also suffered from infidelity in the past, but she bullied her daughter-in-law, so no excuse for her. I don't think there is no need to forgive her. I hope Kate will lead a happy life with her lovely sons from now on. Thank you for watching till the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.